Good morning, good morning. This is Pierre Laguerre here, your daily motivator, here to challenge, inspire, and motivate you today. On episode 415, we're going to be comparing a job to a business. Why is it that it's important for you to have a business? And of course, I'm not here to convince you, just to give you the data so that you can make a fair decision, right? So understand that before there were jobs, everyone had their own business. It was the family business. See, everybody came to the marketplace and they bartered. Eventually, as their businesses grew, many delegated more of what they did, right? Understand that in the example of farmers, they worked the land in the family and they went to the marketplace with their children and they sold their vegetables and milk for other goods. So first was the bartering system, and eventually money came about as a means of exchange between families in the marketplace. And it, of course, made that exchange a whole lot easier. So jobs, I'm not talking Steve Jobs now, I'm talking about jobs that people do, came as a result of the owners needing help. You see, think with me here. One of the key things that happened is that the owners now knew that, okay, they have some of their children, and eventually as times change and they needed more help, they brought on other people to help them with their farming and other aspects of their business, especially as the business grew. They just were delegating folks to do things that they did not have the time, especially as they had bigger and bigger farms. So what's the big difference between a job and a business? I'm going to share with you at least 5 key differences that may help you consider starting to build your own business. And of course, I'm not talking about tax benefits, but that's an important one. So the first thing to understand is that a job usually has very clear parameters, well defined. There is an expected result in terms of what you have to do. And usually on a job, you're wearing one hat. But with a business, at first, you're wearing many hats. You've got multiple jobs in that business. And unfortunately, this is why so many businesses do not succeed 5 years down the road, because the owners don't learn to delegate certain aspects of the business as quickly as possible, especially when it comes to doing the books and other aspects of the business that will give them a better idea of where they are. Now, a second point is that on a job, you have a limited opportunity in terms of what you want. Now, you could be on a job and you could even create things, you could even invent things, but a lot of times those assets belong to the job. On a business, you could create anything you want according to your passion. And really, with a business, you can follow your passion and build something with which you serve customers. So usually people will do a business for 3 main reasons. The 3 major reasons are maybe you want to build your influence, so you want to get out there and be well known. You could also do a business simply for income, for profit, and this is important. Or you could be building a business because you want to extend or build rather a community. So this one could also be a nonprofit endeavor. So those are 3 major reasons why people actually go out there and build a business or organization. Now, number 3, with a job, your time is limited. In other words, 9 to 5, you get in, you get out. Unless, of course, you're in sales, where you're dealing with customers almost 24/7. And even when you're in sales, on the side of support, usually you'll go home, you'll leave your data about how you dealt with those customers, but now you have your time back. An entrepreneur, though, running a business, he knows or she knows there's no such thing as a 9 to 5 when you're just starting. Even though there must be boundaries, and that's why I definitely say you have to have a morning routine and put a plan in place. But ultimately at first, or really that doesn't make sense, ultimately you will be balanced. But at first, it's just like raising a child. There's no real balance. If you have a baby in the house, when the baby cries, you have to serve the baby regardless of the time of the night, especially in those early days. So a business has no such thing as a 9 to 5 at first. You're gonna be completely out of balance as you're building it. But eventually you can come back to that place. Now, what about number 4? Well, this is an important one, especially for a job. Your income is capped. For certain jobs, based on the value that you are bringing, you'll only make a certain amount of income. Now, unless, of course, you're in sales. And even in sales, the companies can prorate how you're going to be commissioned and still limit the kind of commissions you can make. Now, with a business, your income is unlimited. A business allows you to capture wealth like no other vehicle. And this is important because if your goal is to generate profits and build as much as possible so that you can go and do a great work, you're going to need to build something where your income is not capped, right? And of course, as you're building that business, if you really want to expand your income, you're going to have to learn to build systems around the business. And for those of us who are building systems in our business, we understand that one day you're going to have some exit strategy in the business. You got to put that in place. Do you want to sell the business, or do you want to simply maintain it over time and eventually pass it on? So this is important. If you want to grow, you need to look at sales and marketing in your business, and that's how you're going to be bringing more customers and ultimately fulfilling those customers' requests. So on a job, again, your income is limited, but with a business, there's so much more that you can do. And frankly, the sky is the limit. There's no limit in terms of income. Now, what about benefits? Everybody that has a job, they love the benefits, especially those that work for the government. And I'll tell you right now, very few jobs are offering pensions. Unless you're working for Congress, the House, the Senate, or you're the President of the United States, it's not going to be easy to find a pension. IBM used to offer pensions, so many others. But they're doing away with that. And what they've done, they've moved the pension into the 401k. And by the way, this is a vehicle that is not necessarily so sure. Most people don't understand that when you have a 401k, you're basically taking a risk by putting your money in the marketplace. There are other vehicles, for example, like index funds that allow you to manage your money and not lose part of that money, and so that your 401k does not become a 101k. But those are the benefits and the risk of a job rather. So what about the benefits when it comes to a business? Well, with a business, you can invest your money, of course. You have a lifetime asset with that business. If you manage it well, that can be passed on to your children so they can grow it even more. With a business, there are things you can do, things you can put in place. Now, of course, on a job side, you may be saying, well, Pierre, I know I can't pass my job to my kids, but you know what? I could accumulate more money, let's say with mutual funds and index funds. Yes, indeed, you can. And what I want to tell you, with a business, you can absolutely leave an inheritance for your children and great-grandchildren. And the example that I have, of course, is the Rockefellers versus the Vanderbilts. The Rockefellers, they understood the importance of putting in place the right vehicles so that their wealth would continue on. The Fords put in trust and foundations, and these things kept the wealth moving forward. The Vanderbilts, on the other hand, squandered it. And so the wealth was not properly guarded, and therefore it did not pass on as it did with the Rockefellers. So the point here is this: there's definitely some benefits to having a job, and there are some pros, of course, to building your own business. What I want you to do is download the 5 business models and my ebook called The Most Profitable Business Model Yet. Because as you're going out there and you're considering building a business, you need to know what's the difference between the different types, from brick and mortar all the way up to creating your own, passing to e-commerce or being an affiliate, and there's so many others. So I want you to download that ebook and learn the importance of building your own and how you can actually choose the most profitable one to start with. This has been Pierre Laguerre, your daily motivator. I hope I've challenged, inspired, and motivated you today to look into how a business can benefit you and what the advantage is versus having a job. Nothing wrong with having a job, but ultimately, I want you to think about the benefits of having a business. Again, it's Pierre Laguerre here. I look forward to catching up with you on the next episode. Have a great day.